So there's a lot of Roblox games, but there's some that were forgotten. Whether they were banned, deleted, or just got old, this video with 4.4 million views shows them.
What was the first game you played on Roblox?
Ooh,
For some of you older players, it might be a game like Natural Disasters, Prison Life, or Work at a Pizza.
No, it was Lumber Tycoon, bro. That little game right there. Oh, I love that game.
And for some of you newer players, it might be a game like Jailbreak, Piggy, or Billabos.
Okay,
Here
true.
are some Roblox games you might have forgot about and probably haven't played in a long time. So first, let's start with an absolute classic that I mentioned before. Natural Disaster Survival.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, I forgot about that one. I have not played this game in so long. And oh my gosh, look at the old UI.
6 disasters and 8 maps. A bit under half of what it has today. The game was made by Stickmaster Luke, whose avatar or name you've seen somewhere no matter when you started playing.
I have,
has a Roblox toy made of him, which I happen to own. Now, the
dang,
part about
I want a
this game,
Roblox toy.
especially considering its player count, is that it's actually never gotten regular updates. If
Dang.
you take a look at the update log on the wiki, you'll see that it's only gotten 13 updates.
Only 13 updates in 11 years? I'm not gonna lie, I don't know how it's so popular then.
11 years.
That doesn't really make sense.
The latest being 2 years ago in April of 2021, and the one before
Dang,
that 5 years ago in
updated
June of 2018.
4 years ago.
For such an old game to still peak at 10,000 players with no new updates, it's amazing to see.
For
However,
real.
because of Stickmaster Luke not making anything new, or at least fixing older things in the game like the vehicles, I don't see this game growing in popularity, and it'll only grow with the amount of new players joining Roblox.
Dang, bro, I'm not gonna lie, I wonder how big it would be if they did update that. Like,
Now
that
we have a big
would
jump
be
in
big.
player count, from many thousands to a couple hundred. Two
Okay.
games you may not even have heard about. Apocalypse Rising.
No,
and
I've heard of that
Apocalypse
one.
Rising 2.
I've heard of that one.
Apocalypse Rising was released July 1st, 2012 as a
Bro.
survival game against zombies and other players, created by Gus Minek, and until 2015.
People
Solar
loved
Cat.
this game.
It was one of the biggest games on Roblox, being the front page for years and winning Best Survival Game in 2013, even before it was called the Bloxies. If you were a competitive player, then this was one of the games you went to. However, because of it being such an old game and very easy to hack with Roblox's bad security, things were breaking all the time and hackers took over the game. This ruined the game for the players as well as the developer Gus Minek, to the point that he didn't want to work on the game anymore. Almost a year after this announcement, on August 4, 2017, Apocalypse Rising 2 Alpha was released for 1,000 Robux.
Okay.
I don't have 1,000 Robux.
It has since been made free to play and is being updated to this day, getting over 1,000 players every weekend. However, Apocalypse Rising 1 is nowhere as close, only peaking 100 players every weekend, and is sadly still swarmed by flying cars.
I mean, like, I'm not gonna lie, that actually stinks, bro. The poor developer, bro, literally stopped updating because of hackers, and people loved that game too. It had a huge community.
Next, we have a Tycoon game, which I think is one of the best to this day.
Wait, Lumber Tycoon?
Lumber Tycoon.
Yes, bro, I love
Lumber
this
Tycoon
game.
2 started development in May of 2015 when the creator Defaulty got to be a part of Roblox's incubator program, where he got to work with Roblox to develop original games. He
Okay, I
decided
didn't
to
know
go
that.
back to
Bro's
one
an
of his old
intern.
games, Lumber Tycoon or Lumber Tycoon 1 from 2008, and thought about what made it so successful. With this information, he made Lumber Tycoon 2, where the players
I
used what
love
to do
this
next
game,
instead of
bro.
a button upgrades, which every other Tycoon game had. With something as unique and well made as this, it was destined to do well. With the alpha released to the public in July of 2015, it was simply named Test and only had a few players every day. But in August, when it was released to beta, it was finally named Lumber Tycoon 2 and got its iconic icon, reaching 10,000 players in a matter of hours. The game still peaks at around 4,000 players every day, but with the further evolution of Tycoon games, there being easier options, and simply no recent game update except for bug fixes, the player count has basically stayed the same for years.
Dang. Well, it's
Next,
a good
we have,
game,
to
not gonna
me,
lie.
a very underrated game, Roblox Deathrun.
Oh, wow.
Oh,
that was a
I played
real
this
close
one.
sister. What do these do? I don't know. I don't know.
Deathrun, or at the time Deathrun 3, was released in 2015 by a team of developers, but the most known one being Weasley. The game was massive back in 2015 and years after that, but sadly, even though Roblox's player count has gotten higher, Deathrun's player count has only lowered.
Dang.
The only time the game got a lot of players was with
Not
the
gonna lie, I never
2020
played it that
Icon and the
much.
2021 Metaverse event. Not many updates happened after that until on October 17th of 2022, Weasley announced that Deathrun will no longer be getting any more updates.
Dang.
It's sad to see Deathrun go. I have a lot of good memories on it, and every time I hear any music in the game, but especially the main menu music, I get super nostalgic, but it is what it is.
No, that game was cool,
Next,
but
let's talk
never
about
played
a
it
game
much.
that met a sad ending, getting shut down by Pikachu himself.
Wait,
Pokemon
what?
Brick Bronze
Oh,
and its
this
successor, Lumiere
game,
Legacy.
bro.
Pokemon Brick Bronze was released as a
I
demo
remember
on the
this.
24th of October in
Everybody got shut
2015
down
by a
too.
couple of developers, but the most recognizable ones being Lando 64000 and T Brad M. Back then, it was one of the biggest games on Roblox, in the front page getting a
that game
couple
was
thousand
huge.
concurrent players. The story, the gameplay, and the community all really good. However, sadly, it was shut down by Pokemon just 2.5 years later after the beta release. Over a year passed until the game known as Lumion Legacy released. It had the same idea as Pokemon, gotta catch them all, but since it wasn't Pokemon you were catching and it was all disgusting Arthro, it didn't feel the same. And now without recent updates, the game only averages around 1,000 players. I don't know how many players that couple thousand from 2018 would be in today's Roblox, but even a re-upload of Pokemon Brick Runs is getting around the same amount of players as Lumion Legacy. So you can just imagine how big it would be with the proper advertising. And also just a fun fact before going to the next game is that this game was one of the first videos on Russo's channel. You can actually find a stream of his with a sub goal of 800 subscribers.
Dang, bro, looks so different.
Now let's talk about a game that people thought would replace a massive game in the same category. Mad City. Mad City
bro, okay. I actually played this game before it even came out. Alright, I'm an OG player of this game. And not gonna lie, it's kind of forgotten now, like the guy said. But it was good.
But the front page in January of 2019 instantly being compared to Jailbreak was one of the big differences being the addition of superhero.
Yes.
With the new superhero team as well as so many new things to do, for some, Mad City became the new #1 Roblox prison game.
Honestly, it was really cool.
Jailbreak and Mad City lasted for a long time, at least with the fans, but still the Jailbreak developers Asimo and Bad CC or Badimo wouldn't just accept defeat, so they went from monthly to weekly updates to compete. This update schedule lasted for a couple months until it occasionally went to every 2 or 3 weeks and then back to monthly in September. Mad City got its ups and downs over the next 3 years, but the big thing which ruined the game for a lot of people happened on the 23rd of July 2022.
Wait, what happened?
Chapter 2 came out. The live event they made for it was good.
This is crazy.
But what came after, people were not fans of. Usually a game after a massive anticipated update like this would get more new players, but just a month after Chapter 2 came out, it had less players than before the update.
Dang.
Chapter 2 simply made the game too different from what it was in Chapter 1. And another example of this happening is for Piggy Book 1 and Piggy Book 2. This was before Chapter 2, but Jailbreak has now taken back the #1 spot for the Roblox prison game genre, at least player count wise. And unless Mad City somehow makes a massive comeback or a crazy good prison game comes out, then this is not changing.
I think they're gonna work on it,
now we have
but
a
I don't
story
know.
game series, Camping. Camping made by
I haven't
Samsung
played this one.
XVI or just Samsung was first getting big in April 2019. The story was interesting and the game was very enjoyable. And not only was it massive on YouTube, but it also had a massive impact on the Roblox story game genre as a whole. A bunch of new story games came out trying to get on the trend, like High School, Field Trip, and Tiki Island. And also, if you ever see story games joke about a food item being poisoned, that's because of camping.
Until you find out one sandwich has been poisoned.
Every story game used this excuse to kill off a player.
Every camping story is the exact same.
Anyway, Samsung made 3 new games in 2019 to continue the story. Camping 2, Hotel, and Mansion. All of them being very successful. Samsung stopped making the camping games after Mansion in October 2019, and it wasn't until over a year later in December 2020 when he finally made a new story game called Armageddon, which was a pretty big fail. Currently, it only has 2.6 million visits. Then basically half a year later on June 6, 2021, we got the final camping game, Camping 3. It was nice to see the camping story come to an end, and overall, it was a good game.
For who you will snack on. Wait,
what?
Oh my god.
They eat a person? Oh my gosh, yo, what the heck? Oh my gosh.
But it had been close to 2 years since the last camping related game, and not only had that taken away a lot of the hype, but Roblox had also evolved. In the story game genre, we had games like Break-In, which are high quality, but are also a lot more replayable. Since Camping 3, Samsung made one new game called Most Academy, which came out in September 2022, last year. The game currently has the most concurrent players, but the like to dislike ratio doesn't look as good. But despite that, as well as the game only being out for around half a year, it's still gotten more visits than Camping 3. Samsung's recently started working on a new game unrelated to Camping or Most Academy, but he says that he might make a sequel to Most Academy at some point in the future.
Interesting.
Now we're in 2020. We have a Piggy-inspired game which is still averaging a crazy amount of players to this day. Spider. Spider, made by Roy Stanford, got popular early June 2020, possibly because of Albert's video on it. The game is exactly like Piggy with the goal to escape, but with the big difference being that the killer is the spider. And the fun part is that you can actually be your own avatar when playing as a spider. The game peaked in summer of 2020 with tens of thousands of players, but with no new updates, it lost most of its players in just 2 months. The game only has 1 chapter, there's really no story to it, and the skins are really not worth grinding for, so it's still getting 10,000 players. It's crazy, and without a doubt makes it the biggest Piggy-inspired game by far. But really what we learned from this is that Roy Stanford knows how to make a big game. He just has to learn about how to update them. Now we have a game with a very interesting story development-wise, Timmy. Timmy, made by Wonderworks and
Timmy.
Creecraft, released in beta September 3rd,
I didn't know
2021,
we had a
being
game.
another Piggy-inspired game. As you can imagine, this was created because of Creecraft's character Timmy being very popular at the time. However,
Oh.
what was not popular was the game. The monster was faster than the player, there was an overwhelming amount of things in the game at the very beginning with no explanation to what they do, like the level up Timmy, and this might just be my opinion, but I think there were a bit too many Robux purchases, at least for a Piggy-themed game. Anyway, Chapter 2 came out on
Interesting.
19th of December 2021 and was the second and last update to the game, with Wonderworks half a year later announcing that Timmy is discontinued, so I won't receive any more updates. And
Dang.
also, just by looking at Creecraft's tweet the day Chapter 2 came out, the communication might have been bad, or at least
I don't
could have
even
been better.
know.
I was like, wait, what? It updated? I had no idea it was gonna update today. I literally, y'all ain't gonna believe me. Nobody's gonna believe me. But I actually had no idea it was gonna update today.
I was never really a fan of the
Okay.
game, but it sucked to see a game with so much work put into it stop after 2 updates. I did
Yeah.
like the first chapter's map though, and the Krabby Patty mobile was pretty cool. And now, as a surprise, we're going back to 2016 with the first Roblox game I ever played, which I can guarantee you've never heard of.
Okay,
So in the summer of
let me see it.
2016, I
Let me
watched
hear
some
it.
Dan TDM Roblox videos of games such as The Plaza, Roblox and Water Park,
I've
and
heard of
other
that one.
interesting games. But it wasn't until August 30th, 2016 when I watched this video on Roblox Pokemon Go when I finally decided to create my account on my dumpster laptop. As you can
Okay.
imagine, it's a game where you catch Pokemons from
Bro,
starters to really
what?
rare ones, just like in
Off-brand
But
Pokemon
unfortunately,
Go?
now the game has been private because of Nintendo taking down just like Pokemon Brick.
Bro, that's
The game still
funny.
managed to get 500,000 favorites, 145,000 likes, and 104 million visits. So for its time, I'd say it was a success, but man, I want to revisit that game.
Oh, yo, that game was fun too. I see it in the background. Okay, interesting. Honestly, a lot of good games that unfortunately are forgotten. Let me know if you guys ever heard of any of those. Anyways, leave a like if you enjoyed, subscribe if you're new, and I'll see you boys in the next one. Peace.